Lawlessness and lying are the dual corrupt spirits of this age, born out of progressive rebellion and rejection of the commandments of God. Secularism, the religion of this age, preaches the throwing off of all the restraints of biblical truth and propagates a redemption of the human soul through moral and social liberation from those restraints. Throw off the moral standards and principles of truth that have held Western civilization together in political stability and social sanity for centuries. The evidence of moral confusion, suicide, and the breakdown of the family urgently call for the restoration of traditional family values and the return to faith in God today. From the White House to college campuses, to the liberal media, there is a worldview being ascribed to without God. More, it is a total rebellion against belief in God. Evolution and anti-creationism were propagated into our schools to indoctrinate, not to encourage dialogue and search for truth. In America, the spirits of lawlessness and lying have their roots in cultural relativism. There is no absolute truth. Nothing is sure. You can't trust anything. The only thing progressives, liberals, can absolutely trust is climate change. Amazing. For decades, that is, from the Supreme Court's Roe v. Wade decision in 1973, lying has supported the most heinous crime of American history after slavery. The lies of the woman used to perpetrate the fraudulent case, though years later she recanted, were accepted by the court, allowing the killing of babies as a woman's right and choice. Everyone knew then and knows now, even with indisputable scientific evidence today, that it is a human life at conception. Every woman knows what grows in her womb is a baby, and abortionists and their attendants lie about it. Abortion is murder. The lying has gone so far that some politicians and liberals have defended Planned Parenthood, and our Congress has approved the funding, even after Planned Parenthood has admitted selling baby body parts. They lie to self and to others, and the society accepts the lying without mass outrage and condemnation. Another example of lawlessness and lying is the liberal claims of revived white racism in America. Racism that did exist years ago has been used to intimidate white people today. The latest example is Black Lives Matter. How could a black president be elected with a large enthusiastic percentage of white support, and still we hear the claims of rampant racism in America leveled by that same president and his former attorney general? I am a man who has worked hard for years combating injustice in America. As a street priest in the streets of Newark, New Jersey, and other cities in New Jersey, I work to combat racism and injustice. Jesse Lee Peterson, a black Christian minister and president of the civil rights nonprofit organization Bond, believes a larger societal redistribution of wealth is the end game of blacks who accuse whites of racism. The false charge of racism is kept alive not only to keep the race hucksters alive, but is fomented by sinister progressive politicians to stoke racial conflict as part of the larger agenda of destabilization of society and transformation of America. That's why there is no real effort to crack down on the lawlessness in cities like Chicago. Quick and blanket charges of police racism are increasing to undermine the rule of law and to disrespect officers of the law and their responsibility to maintain order and protect the legitimate rights of the population. The Justice Department finally acknowledged, hands up, don't shoot, never happened. Such undermining can only lead to chaos. Socialists behind the global agenda of a one-world government believe chaos is necessary and inevitable for a socialist transformation of America. What are the most egregious forms of lying and deception are the defenses and cover-ups of Muslim terrorist organizations and activity in America. Liberal politicians, the media, and university officials have refused to expose the Muslim Brotherhood as the parent of all Islamic terrorist organizations in the world and their infiltration in America, even after the U.S. Justice Department and the FBI investigations and determination to the contrary. Intimidation of thinking and questioning Americans through charges of Islamophobia has put Americans at great risk. Our Congress was warned a decade ago in a special report by the Washington, D.C.-based Freedom House Center for Religious Freedom that exposed the dissemination of hate propaganda in American mosques by the government of Saudi Arabia. Yes, Saudi Arabia. The 89-page report, Saudi Publications on Hate Ideology Fill American Mosques. It exposes the substance of the Saudi publications that admonishes members of those mosques that they are in America for two main purposes. One, to convert Americans to Islam, and two, to raise funds for eventual jihad in America. Understand that the Saudi government is responsible for the building and construction of most of the mosques in America. How many terrorist attacks have to occur before Americans wake up and stand up to the lie of political correctness and charges of Islamophobia? The vision of Islam with violent jihad and terror throughout the Middle East and increasing attacks in North America recalls the very origins of Islam of the 7th century. And it is interpreted by politicians and media as a hijacking of a peaceful religion. Fear, intimidation, and political correctness are forms of lying, and they prevent truth from enabling people to honestly face and effectively deal with reality on the battlefield and to ensure the security of this nation. When government becomes so corrupt that it becomes a purveyor of lying and lawlessness when it is supposed to be a terror to the wicked, the blame is rightly to be placed at the doors of the churches. The Christian church has been woefully silent as the lies of abortion, homosexuality, and transgender are accepted as normal and even morally acceptable today. Masses of people have been programmed in lying and unrighteousness and are ready to believe the lie of the Antichrist, who I believe is in the wings and ready to make his appearance on the world stage today. The Bible says God will put strong delusion on people that they should believe a lie because they love not the truth but have pleasure in unrighteousness. They will face the judgment of a holy God.